When God seems silent, what do? When times are hard and God seems distant, how do you hold on? Hey friends, this is Pastor Ron with this week's Message of Hope. Between the close of the Old Testament and the opening of the New, there was a period of 400 years. Do you know what these years are called? The silent years. That's because there is no prophet, there is no word from God. The last word from the Lord is from the prophet Malachi. He closes out his book in our Old Testament with these words, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord, and he will turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and strike the earth with a curse." Then, silence. Those 400 years start out well enough with the temple getting rebuilt. Then Alexander the Great conquers the known world. Life under the Greeks is relatively good until the empire cracks up and Israel gets caught between warring factions. Terrible persecution breaks out against the people of God. They revolt and have a period of about 80 years of sovereignty under the reign of the Maccabees. Then in 63 BC, the Romans come, take over, and rule with an iron fist. And all during this time, God is silent. Many righteous ones ached and longed for a word from on high, yet lived and died never getting one. Then in the first century, angels are dispatched. First to Elizabeth in Jerusalem, then to Mary in Nazareth. Then on a cold winter's night, a full angelic choir lights up the skies above the shepherd fields outside Bethlehem. When the angels are stirring, you know God is on the move. About that moment when the silence is broken, songwriter Chris Tomlin writes this in his song, Emmanuel. "What hope we hold this starlit night, a king is born in Bethlehem. Our journey long, we seek the light that leads to the hallowed manger ground." What fear we felt in the silent age, 400 years can he be found? But broken by a baby's cry, rejoice in the hallowed manger ground. Did you catch that? The 400 years of God's silence is broken not by a prophet declaring, "Thus saith the Lord," or a thundering word from on high, but by a baby's cry. And not just any baby, Emmanuel's cry. Emmanuel, God with us. John in his gospel calls him the Word made flesh. And this God in flesh breaks his silence with a cry. In this crazy year, there have been times when the only response I could muster to the evening news was tears. We live in a world of such suffering, heartache, such brokenness. It's all I can do sometimes to hold back the tears. On top of the major issues our country has faced, we've suffered a number of heartbreaking deaths this year at our church. I hold it together through the funeral, and then I go to my office, and my eyes well up in tears. To the problem of human suffering and pain, God gives us not an explanation or an answer to our questions, but himself, Emmanuel. And the first sounds from his lips are cries. The prophet Isaiah called it centuries before. The Messiah would be, quote, "a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief." Those tears shed in the manger would be the first of many tears. This will be my 36th Christmas to preach. The Christmas story is so simple, and yet I never cease to stand in awe of it. Emmanuel, God with us in tears. I pray that you can truly celebrate Christmas. And reflecting on this hard year and all of our losses, I pray you can also shed a tear or two. It was, after all, how Jesus broke the silence. And when we get to the very end of the story, we are assured of this: every tear will be wiped away from our eyes by God himself. And that is amazing news. May you rejoice in the baby's cry. May you rejoice in the hallowed manger ground. And may you have a Merry Christmas. God bless you, friends.